some people are good for you now, and some people may become good for you forever. But this idea that if someone's good for me now and they're not forever, then I don't want them now, isn't the healthiest idea, because the growth you might make with this person who may not be your forever person could be so powerful and useful in your forever relationship. And you won't know that until you're actually getting to know them. I had a friend recently who went through that scenario where they felt that this individual they were with was helping them grow, helping them understand themselves. They were doing the same back. And they realized during the course of that relationship that this wasn't the one that was going to be the marriage and the long-term commitment. But they feel like they both grew so much as individuals. And you constantly in this conversation so far, you've talked about doing the deep work on your own. You've talked about working with that person. What's really interesting is that after all this time, and no matter how many books we read, and no matter how many podcasts we listen to, there's still this belief that when we meet the person, it will be easy, it will be simple, and everything will just make sense. I feel like a lot of people also who found love in a magical way will say things like, when you know, and you just feel it. And then people feel like they have to find that feeling and that love should be easy and simple and flow. I'm assuming from what you're saying so far that it's not really the only way. It can require work. It does require work. I've been with my wife for 11 years now, and I can honestly say that some parts have been really easy and some parts have required work. And I believe we work on it consistently, and that's why it becomes easier than it would become harder. But I feel like there's this Disney magic belief we still all carry so deep rooted in us that love should be easy. What would you say to someone who is carrying that experience or that vision of love in their heart and mind?
Right. Well, first of all, when we look at attachment styles, if you have a secure attachment, sometimes it is easier for you to know whether this person is going to be someone you want to pursue long term. But even then, things will come up. But also, many of us are not securely attached, meaning that we had inconsistent caregivers, or we had, parents do their best, but parents are also imperfect. Parents have their own parents and they have their own histories, which makes them parent in a certain way. So there are certain ways in which we didn't get parented the way we wanted to get parented. And we come into relationships maybe we don't trust. And then we think, oh, I can't trust that person. But it's really not about the other person. They're completely trustworthy, but you just don't trust the world. You don't trust the universe. You don't even maybe trust yourself. So those people maybe feel like, well, this is really hard because I don't really trust this person, but they're not looking at, maybe it's hard because you are bringing something into this, right? So the magic might be there, but you have to be able to learn how to trust. And maybe at the beginning of that relationship, it's going to be a little bit hard for you. So it's not going to look like the romantic comedies that we all see. But I think the other thing is there's a study that I love that I think more people should know about, which is that they did this longitudinal study. So that means they followed people over 20 years and they checked in every 5 years, and they started with the first date. When you met this person, you write down your impressions. And some people said, oh, this person, there's so much magic, there's so much chemistry. And some people said, it was fine. Yeah, I'd probably see this person again, but nothing great. Right? And then they followed them every 5 years. And what they found after 20 years was that the people who were happily married to each other did change their story. So at the time they had said I'm not really sure. Nice person, no butterflies, no spark. They said, oh, I knew right away. They changed the story because now the story is filtered through the way their marriage is now. People who were unhappy, who got divorced or were still married but were unhappy, said things like, oh, there was no chemistry. There was never any chemistry. I knew right away. Even though at the time they said magic, right?
That's so good.
So I think it's so important for people to realize that don't listen to what your friends say about how they met, because it's going to be filtered through how they feel about each other right now.
I'm so glad you raised that. That's such a great insight. And I wish if everyone's listening right now, please, let that deeply connect with your heart and head, because I think that's one of the reasons we all make mistakes. We're either forcing ourselves to look for the perfection in the moment. And like you said, some of the best relationships start by, it's fine, it's okay, I'm not sure. And also to not over amplify that first meeting. I think we put so much pressure on